Stop using church intimidation, control and manipulation. Jezebel and all them spirits fall back, not trying to hear it. Go with Jesus, walk in peace. On your pew can sit that beast that we're fighting in the world. I'm that JC Supergirl, Jesus Christ, belt of truth, arm of God, I'm slaying you. Power of the word, two-edged sword. MC Heaven rocks for her Lord. Thought they crept in unaware, didn't see the gatekeeper standing right there. Not getting down with your tactics, undoctrinal practice.
Hey everybody, God bless you. Welcome again to the Crystal Jones Show. It's the show that's all about life's balance. We're glad to see you all again. Come back another week and join in with the, with the information and things that we have for you. We're glad to see you. Thank you all for participating and for supporting us down through the years. As many of you know, I'm within my 9th year of production, so I'm thanking God for that, and I'm grateful to all of you who helped make it possible. All of you who have been guests in the past, you've been a great audience. You could always go to my show page at The Crystal Jones Show on Facebook. And also you can reach me by way of email at thecrystaljonesshow@gmail.com. If you have any questions, or sometimes people have suggestions or things like that, I welcome them. And so, you can always reach me and see what things I'm doing. Facebook, I upload my latest shows, episodes. Also, you can go to YouTube, my YouTube channel. It's the same thing, The Crystal Jones TV Show. You could go to YouTube and see all of, my different episodes, as well as going to Facebook. The same thing, The Crystal Jones TV Show, same thing. All right. So we're glad to be here another week. Much is going on in the United States. We're having so many all around the world, as a matter of fact. But I wanted to talk to you about in the news on the Crystal Jones Show. This is a new segment that we're going to be adding to the show. Now, we're going to start with my own area, which is Co-op City power outage. Many of you know I'm a resident of Co-op City here in the Bronx, New York. Yes, there was a power outage on this past Friday. Co-op City police said a transformer fire caused an outage. There was a woman named Mrs. Cologne and her family. They stayed at a hotel for the night. But then in the early hours Sunday morning, the power went out again. Ms. Cologne was met by darkness in her lobby after returning from her overnight shift at work. Now, there's another thing I wanted to read to you all. Twice in 3 days, some of the buildings in Co-op City experienced a power outage. With no electricity, elevator service was out, so residents had to take the stairs to their apartment using their phone and their flashlights to light up the stairwell. Co-op City has its own power plant, which we do, separate from Con Ed. So it supplies power to, we have 35 high-rise buildings, as well as we have townhomes here. Now, unfortunately, there was a woman who was 73 years old. She was hooked up to an oxygen tank, and she died Friday while taking the stairs to her apartment. Now, from what I've understood, she lived on the 19th floor in one of the buildings. First, let me say, my area, we have 5 areas, okay? The area that I'm in, we didn't have that problem. What happened was the television, we couldn't get, the service for television, but the cable was working. But we were able to, use the elevator, have water, and all of that. Now, what has happened down through the years is one time we were all on one grid, and we didn't have our own electricity. We were using Con Ed. And when we used Con Ed, we had power outages like all the time, a lot. We really did, especially in the summer. It was bad. The power could go out at any time. So years ago, I really wish I remember the year, they put us on separate power grids. So what I'm understanding is that there's this one particular section that continues to have this problem. And now I'm seeing that there was also a fire that caused that grid to go out. Now, my heart goes out, you know, condolences to that family who the lady walked up those stairs and she had an oxygen tank. Now, before this pandemic, we had, you know, guards that would, we had security guards in the buildings. So that probably would have, you know, probably the security guard would have told her, no, I can't allow you to go up the stairs. So I don't know why the person went up the stairs like that, if she lived on that floor, or just being that, you know, to take that chance when you have an oxygen tank. I'm so sorry there was nobody to stop her and say, ma'am, is there a place I could take you? Or, you know, because there is a hotel down the street. You know, like in my building, had that happened, we could have all come together, you know, the tenants association, and given her money to go stay, you know, at a hotel or something, or someone, you know, would have taken her into their apartment, because we're family like that here in Carl City. This is a very, I, I will say this is, it's 95% Black. And the people here are family oriented. So if something goes wrong, we're all like on it with each other, trying to help each other, you know, no matter what it is. So I'm sorry that none of us knew, nobody in my uh, section knew of it, because had any of us known, we would have came to, you know, to her aid. So I'm not sure of the circumstances around that, but you know, my heartfelt condolences go out to the family. It doesn't say her name, so whoever she was, I'm sure, you know, she has a family who loved her. I'm sorry to hear that that happened. So that's what's going on in Co-op City. From what I understand, that section now pretty much their power is back on. There may be some that still don't have it. I'm not sure about that, but I believe pretty much a lot of power has been restored. Okay, so like I said, sorry to hear that all of this was going on in the neighborhood, you know, over the weekend. All right. Now, the next thing that I wanted to talk about was Mississippi. Jackson, Mississippi. That's really, you know, it says in Jackson, Mississippi, some residents have been without water going on 2 weeks. Mississippi, I gotta be honest with you all, it's a very racist state. And they seem to have a lot of problems with the areas where a lot of Black people live purposely. Like they just don't get on top of their things at all, you know, and it's really, really bad. Many residents of Jackson, Mississippi have been without water since a winter storm hit the area in February, and many are still not sure when it will return. Is that crazy? The storm, which also affected Texas and Louisiana, caused 80 water breaks throughout the city. Public Works Director Dr. Charles Williams said Monday that 50 have now been repaired, but the water crisis is far from over. Like, what's going on with these government officials that they don't seem to jump on things right away? I mean, thankfully, you know, here we're in Co-op City, if something goes out, pretty much it's going to get handled pretty quickly. You know, a fire, you know, that caused the power outage, of course, that, you know, is something that they're going to have to, I'm sure, look into so that it doesn't continue to happen. But you've been having this thing since February, and you had 80 water breaks throughout the city. All right. But the water crisis, they're saying, is far from over. Okay. Now, the system got so far down and they got behind, and now they're trying to play catch up. Like, really, Jackson has been on a boil water advisory since February 23rd. Meanwhile, some residents are still experiencing little to no water pressure in parts of the city. This sounds like a Flint, Michigan thing. All right, get on it. Get on it. It looks like the person that's in charge here, from what I'm seeing, um, they're talking about the person who is, in charge of these water breaks and stuff like that. Okay. Um, you know, it doesn't make sense. They're saying that their system basically crashed like a computer, and now they're trying to rebuild it. All of these areas, stop with this pity patch stuff in these neighborhoods that, you feel don't need the attention. And most of them are going to be the poorer areas, where it's going to be people of color, or either it's going to be like all black neighborhoods. Like, how is it that you don't feel these people are important? You talking about you trying to play catch up. you know Stop this nonsense. America has a bad habit of always trying to solve all these other countries' problems, but here we have the biggest racist problem. We have the biggest just unjust system in the world, and yet we sit back and try to cover it up and act like, oh, well, see, what happened was we were out fishing, and we thought that and I'm pretty sure in Mississippi, I bet you it's just like Flint, Michigan. You got a bunch of poor black people or people of color that the government of that area is like, oh, well, we'll get to it when we get to it. We'll try to patch it up when we can. Stop the nonsense, America. Do what you're supposed to do or get out of office. That's my opinion to you. Stop the nonsense. We're not going for it. We're not taking it. Fix these problems. Stop with these cheap uh, materials and crap like that, And then you want to talk about people that are in the areas that are poor, but you don't even want to pay them the proper minimum wage. So you want to keep them down and talk about them, and then keep them without power and water for weeks upon weeks, and pretend like, yeah, well, we're right on it. Stop it. We see you, and we're coming for you. You coming for us? We're coming for you. All right? We don't like it, and we're going to complain about it. We're going to help our brothers and sisters. Okay? We're going to say something about it. Thankfully, in our area, okay, we have a board of directors and all of that kind of stuff. So we're going to be right up in your face right away. But in areas where there's poor black people and they don't have any representation, shame on you. Those towns and states and cities that continue to oppress people of color. All right. Now, we're going to get back into our teaching. Sorry, I had to come with a little rebuke today, because it really just disgusts me that we're living in the 21st century and we're still going through this nonsense. All right. So anyway, we're going to go back. Now we're going to come back in, and we're going to go to the book of Exodus, like we've been doing. And we are going to go back to the Red Sea crossing, but we're going to go back to what happened after the Red Sea crossing. Moses brought the children of Israel to the Red Sea, stretched out his rod over the sea. The sea parted. They went through. The Egyptians followed after them to try to kill them, but the Egyptians drowned. All right. So now here we are on the other side of the Red Sea, and we'll be coming from Exodus, the book of Exodus, chapters 15 through 19. I'm going to try to get through all of those books today, all of those chapters today. And they were in the wilderness of, it's so funny, it was called sin, because it's a sin to really be, just complain about things. Now, I don't mean like when you speak up for your rights, but I mean, just complaining when things are good and you still like, I want this, I want that, I want the other, right? So we had the children of Israel that were doing that. God was taking care of them, and they were still not happy with his provisions. So we're going to start at Exodus, the 15th chapter. The Song of Moses and the Israelites. And the murmuring begins. Now, Exodus, the 15th chapter, you're seeing here where as they came, through the Red Sea, and then the Lord closed the sea back up, and the Egyptians that came after them had drowned. Moses and the people of God, our people are known for the worship. I even heard over the weekend, there was a white pastor talking about, you can't sing no song like Black people that have gone through such struggling and suffering. He explained how our people have been forced to come over here, and how we made it through with singing and stuff like that. He said, you can't sing like them because they've been through hell. He said, if I'd have been through the kind of hell that Black people in this country have been through, he said, I could sing like them. And I got to be real. It's our sufferings that when you hear us singing like that God speaks to us through our singing. So here we have a group of Black people, the Israelites. They came, they made it through the Red Sea crossing. And Exodus says, then sang Moses and the children of Israel this song unto the Lord, and spake, saying, I will sing unto the Lord, for he hath triumphed gloriously. The horse and his rider hath he thrown into the sea, meaning Pharaoh and the Egyptians that came after them were thrown into the sea. So they sang, the Lord is my strength and my song, and he has become my salvation. He is my God, and I will prepare him an habitation, my father's God, and I will exalt him. The Lord is a man of war. The Lord is his name. Pharaoh's chariots and his hosts hath he cast into the sea. His chosen captains also are drowned in the Red Sea. The depths have covered them. They sank into the bottom as a stone. Thy right hand, O Lord, has become glorious in power. Thy right hand, O Lord, had dashed in pieces the enemy. So they're giving God the glory that the Lord delivered them out of the hand of their enemy. And who was their enemy? Their enemy was the Egyptians, because at one time the Egyptians were our friend. When Joseph was in power, they were okay with us and whatnot, because Joseph had helped Egypt to escape when they had a famine come upon them of, there wasn't going to be any food. And Joseph had interpreted that particular Pharaoh's dream and all of that. So we were there in Egypt for a while until another Pharaoh came who decided that because we were multiplying, we had so many people, he was afraid that we would join up with one of their enemies and go against them. Now, we hadn't done that, but he felt that we might. So now that, they had enslaved us wrongfully and all of that kind of stuff, but then the Lord brought us out. So our people were giving God the glory, giving him the praise that he brought us through that time, right? So now you see them, and they're worshiping, and they, Moses and them are making up a song to sing to the Lord. Many of us, sometimes we just come up, the Lord bless us with songs. I myself, sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night and I record songs that God give me. Sometimes different things happen, and I feel blessed. I feel happy. I just start making up songs. It's something that God has put down on the inside of us from way back when we lived over on the African continent. That's a gift. It's something that we have as Hebrew people, as Israelites. That's something that God gave us. So now we see even Moses' sister Miriam in the 15th chapter still. She answered them, sing ye to the Lord. So sometimes we would have the call and response song. I don't know if you all have ever seen that, and it's really nice. Sometimes I think they used to do that with the Alvin Ailey dancers, and they would sing and call and response. A lot of slaves would sing that here in America on the plantations. They would sing a lot of call and response. So it says in the 22nd verse, so Moses brought Israel from the Red Sea, and they went out into the wilderness of Shur, and they went 3 days in the wilderness and found no water. So now they've been worshiping the Lord and everything. Hallelujah. Thank you, Lord. Oh God. Right? 3 days. Now after 3 days, they see that there's no water. So when they came to Marah, they could not drink of the waters of Marah, for they were bitter, which Marah means bitter, of course. Therefore, the name of it was called Marah. And the people, check this out now, they made it through the Red Sea, right? Remember, before they crossed the Red Sea, they started then kind of saying to Moses, what's going on? We're at the water. How are we gonna cross over? And then the Lord told Moses, just stretch out your rod over the sea. And the Lord, caused the sea to open up. So now they still didn't get it. Okay, so now they're here in the wilderness, right? And they see that there's no water. So again, now they're on the other side. I mean, come on, God opened up the sea. You don't realize that you're supposed to pray and ask the Lord, hello, right? They murmured against Moses, saying, what are we going to drink? And he cried unto the Lord, and the Lord showed him a tree, which when he had cast into the waters were made sweet. There he made for them a statute and an ordinance, and there he proved them. The Lord proved these people that he's showing them, I'm still with you. Okay, keep going, right? And said, if you will diligently hearken to the voice of the Lord thy God, and will do that which is right in his sight, and will give ear to his commandments, and keep all his statutes, I will put none of these diseases upon thee. I will put none of these diseases, okay? Diseases are what? They're not a blessing. Diseases are some type of a curse. I will put none of these diseases upon thee, which I have brought upon the Egyptians. I am the Lord that healeth thee. So whenever you're sick or whatever, your healing really is not coming from your doctors or medicines or anything. If God says you're healed, you are healed. If not, you'll be dealing with that particular sickness or whatever it is, because sickness is not of God. It's not a blessing. It's a curse, right? And they came to Elim, where were 12 wells of water, and 70 palm trees, and they encamped there by the water. So the Lord is trying to, understand, okay, all right, y'all are fussing and complaining. All you had to do was ask me, but I'm going to give you a little break. I'm going to give you some water, all right? So now we're going to go to Exodus, the 16th chapter. More murmuring, Moses rebukes, manna is given, but the Sabbath is forsaken. All right. Now, for the 16th chapter, they took their journey from Elim, and all the congregation of the children of Israel came unto the wilderness of Sin, which is between Elim and Sinai, on the 15th day of the 2nd month after their departing out of the land of Egypt. And the whole congregation of the children of Israel murmured against Moses and Aaron in the wilderness. Why were they doing that? What is wrong with you, right? And the children of Israel said unto Aaron and Moses, we wish to God we had died by the hand of the Lord in the land of Egypt, when we sat by the flesh pots, and when we did eat bread to the full. For you have brought us forth into the wilderness to kill us, this whole assembly, with hunger. Hello? God parted the sea for you. He gave you water. All you have to do is ask for bread. Stop being lazy, right? So they have the nerve to say they wish to God they had died in the land of Egypt. Sounds like people today, sometime if one thing is not right, they're ready to just give up. Just, oh my gosh. I just can't make it, right? Ridiculous, right? Then said the Lord unto Moses, behold, I will rain bread from heaven for you. So the Lord he gave him another chance. He said, okay, I'm going to rain bread from heaven for you. And the people shall go out and gather a certain rate every day, that I may prove them whether they will walk in my law or no. So the Lord is trying to prove who they are, to show them, listen, either you're going to obey me or you're not. Are you going to be my people? All right, this is what I'm going to do. You're going to go out and you're going to gather a certain rate of grain every day. It shall come to pass that on the sixth day, prepare that which they bring in, it shall be twice as much as they gather daily. So on the sixth day, you're gonna gather enough for 2 days, because on the seventh day is the Sabbath day, and that's your day of rest. So being that you don't have to work on the Sabbath day, you're gonna gather twice as much on the sixth day. So imagine that they were eating fresh food daily, complaining. What? All right. So, and Moses and Aaron said unto all the children of Israel, at even then ye shall know that the Lord hath brought you out from the land of Egypt. And in the morning you will see the glory of the Lord, for that he heareth your murmurings against the Lord. And what are we that ye murmur against us? So Moses is saying, why do y'all keep complaining to us? We're not God. We're leading you out. We led you out of Egypt. We're leading you through this wilderness. Stop complaining. And Moses said, this shall be when the Lord shall give you in the evening flesh to eat, and in the morning bread to the full. For that the Lord heareth your murmurs, which you murmur against him. And what are we? Your murmurs are not against us, but against the Lord. You complaining to us, but really God is the one being offended, because you're going against the provision that he's provided for you. And Moses spake unto Aaron, say unto all the congregation of the children of Israel, come near to the Lord, because he's heard your murmurings. And it came to pass, as Aaron spake to the whole congregation of the children of Israel, that they looked toward the wilderness, and behold, the glory of the Lord appeared in a cloud. And the Lord spake to Moses, saying, I've heard their murmurings. At even you shall eat flesh, and in the morning you shall be filled with bread, and you will know that I'm the Lord your God. Like, I'm going to provide for you. I hear y'all complaining, but I'm going to provide for you. And it came to pass that at even the quails came up and covered the camp. And in the morning the dew lay round about the host. So quails were on the earth. Those are like, I believe quails are like pigeons or something like that, kind of like birds. And when the dew that lay was gone up, behold, upon the face of the wilderness there lay a small round thing, as small as the hoar frost on the ground. And when the children of Israel saw it, they said to one another, it is manna, for they didn't know what it was. And Moses said unto them, this is the bread which the Lord hath given you to eat. So the Lord gave them, certain bread from heaven. Can you imagine? God gave me bread from heaven in the morning. Oh my Lord, This is the thing which the Lord hath commanded. Gather of it every man according to his eating, an omer for every man according to the number of your persons. Take ye every man for them which are in his tents. And the children of Israel did so, and gathered some more and some less. And when they did meet it with an omer, he hath gathered much, had nothing over, and he that gathered little had no lack. They gather every man according to his eating. So as much as you could eat, that's what you gathered. And Moses said, don't leave it to the morning. Notwithstanding, of course, they had to not obey him. They gathered it every morning according to their eating. When the sun waxed hot, it melted. It came to pass on the sixth day, they gathered twice as much, 2 omers for one man, and all the rulers of the congregation came and told Moses. So some people weren't listening when he first said that you would have gathered twice as much on the sixth day. And he said unto them, that's what the Lord said. Tomorrow is the day of the holy Sabbath. Bake that which you will bake today, and seethe what you will seethe. And that which remaineth over, lay up for you to be kept till the morning. They laid it up to the morning, and it did not stink, neither was there any more worm therein. So if you laid it over any other day, then the worms and all of that got into it. But if you had the double amount that you made on the sixth day, which would have been Friday, then the Lord watched over it because the next day would be the Sabbath day, right? So it pays to be obedient, right? So now, and Moses said, eat that today, for today is a Sabbath unto the Lord. Today you shall not find it in the field. 6 days you will gather it, but on the seventh day, which is the Sabbath, in it there shall be none. It came to pass there went out some of the people on the seventh day to gather and found none. Didn't he just tell them? Come on, Israelites, listen. Right? And the Lord said unto Moses, how long refuse you to keep my commandments and my laws? And a lot of things, y'all, much as I get on people from other cultures, I'm getting on my own culture. We need to listen more. We need to listen more and do what God is telling us to do. We have a bad habit of being disobedient. So do the other nations, but I'm getting on my people today. Me, my people, all of us. We need to listen more and do what we're supposed to do. All right? The Lord said unto Moses, how long refuse you to keep my commandments and my laws? All right. So they went out on the seventh day, knowing that the seventh day was the Sabbath day. The Lord told you don't do that. He said, prepare what you need on Friday so that on Saturday, which is the Sabbath, you could rest. It will be a day of Sabbath, a holy day, right? See, for the Lord have given you the Sabbath. Therefore, he giveth you on the sixth day the bread of 2 days. Abide you in your place. Don't go out of your place on the seventh day. Like, chill. So the people rested on the seventh day. And the house of Israel called the name thereof manna. And it was like coriander seed, white. And the taste of it was like wafers made with honey. And Moses said, this is the thing which the Lord commanded. Fill an omer of it to be kept for your generations, that they may see the bread wherewith I have fed you in the wilderness. So as we go on, you're going to find out that in the Ark of the Covenant, because as they go on, they build a wilderness tabernacle and all of that. And there are different pieces of furniture that represent different things. But in the Holy of Holies is the Ark of the Covenant. Inside of that ark, it's a gold ark. Inside of it is a reminder to Israel. One of the things that's in there is the bread that they ate in the wilderness, to remind them that they forsook God's provision for them. He wanted them to see that for generations to come, that they wouldn't continue being disobedient like that. They wouldn't continue refusing the things of the Lord. So that was in there. Another thing was Aaron's budding rod, which we'll get to eventually. You'll see how the people decided that they didn't want Aaron and Moses really to be their leaders. And the Lord said, well, put out your rod, and whoever's rod buds, that's who I've chosen to be the leaders. And Aaron's bud rotted, because remember, Aaron is the one that's the original leader of the Levitical priesthood. And the other thing that's in the Ark of the Covenant is the 10 Commandments. So the rod represents the fact that the children of Israel refused who God chose for leadership. You see a pattern here? I mean, come on now. Then also the 10 Commandments. Do you see our people today doing all kind of things that's against the 10 Commandments? When we get to it, you'll see what I mean. But basically, you have that. Those are the 3 reminders that you're going to see that are in the Ark of the Covenant. All right. So Moses said to Aaron, take a pot and put an omer full of manna therein and lay it up before the Lord to be kept for your generations. That's what he was going to put in the Ark of the Covenant. And the Lord commanded Moses. So Aaron laid it up before the testimony to be kept. And the children of Israel ate manna. How many years? 40 years. This was only supposed to be a 3-day journey, y'all. But because they kept being disobedient, it lasted for 40 years. They kept walking around the wilderness. And that's how our people are today. We just walking around. Some of our people are finally waking up and coming out of it. But too many of us walking around the wilderness, doing the same thing, expecting different results. That's insanity, right? So this is what happened. They did eat manna for 40 years. Can you imagine the Lord feeding you every day for 40 years? You go outside and you got bread in the morning. You're like, oh, thank you, God. Came from heaven and it tasting good. And he give you meat in the evening and you got water that's just fresh. And you complaining? Get out of here. Until they came to the land inhabited, they did eat manna until they came unto the borders of the land of Canaan. All right, because God was trying to give them Canaan. All right, Canaan is the area that's around Israel. It's basically right there in that area. So he was trying to give them a land of their own. So I'm saying to my people, God is trying to get us to a better place. Pay attention. All right. We done came out of so many different things. We came out of Egyptian bondage, all the bondages we were over in the continent of Africa. Then we came here. This is the last captivity. All right. God is trying to help us. I'm seeing y'all went to my page for Black History Month. I honored a lot of Black people every day of Black History Month. All right. These are people that are making it happen. They're entrepreneurs. They're doing things. We got to follow suit. We got to start doing things. We got to start owning land, property. We got to start waking our people up. Yes, a lot of our people are still in poverty, but we have enough millionaires, billionaires to go and change that. We are movers and shakers. Let's get going. All right? Use your platform. This is my platform. One of my platforms. Use your platform to help educate our people. All right. So now let's go to Exodus, the 17th chapter. The 17th chapter talks again about murmuring. Amalek comes to fight Israel, but the Lord is with the Israelites. All right. Now, all the congregation of the children of Israel journeyed from the wilderness of Sin after their journeys, according to the commandment of the Lord, and pitched in Rephidim. And there was no water for the people to drink. Now, see, here we go with the water. Sometimes God is trying you with the same thing, okay? And you still bumping your head like, I don't know. I don't know, Lord. But he's the same thing, right? Wherefore the people did chide with Moses and said, give us water that we may drink. Here we go. And Moses said unto them, why chide you with me? Why are you tempting the Lord? And the people thirsted there for water, and the people murmured against Moses. Instead of them praying and saying, Lord, can you send us some water? Ask and you shall receive, seek and you shall find, knock, and it shall be open to you, right? Okay, and said, wherefore is it that thou hast brought us up out of Egypt, to kill us and our children and our cattle with thirst? Oh, Lord. And Moses cried unto the Lord, saying, what shall I do to this people? They're almost ready to stone me. And the Lord said to Moses, go on before the people, and take with thee of the elders of Israel and thy rod wherewith thou smotest the river, take in thine hand and go. Behold, I will stand before thee upon the rock in Horeb, and thou shalt smite the rock. Why couldn't they have all joined hands and said a prayer? And the Lord would have said, go right up there to Horeb, and that's where the water is. Come on, y'all. Wake up. Right? There shall come water out of it that the people may drink. And Moses did so in the sight of the elders of Israel. And he called the name of the place Massa, and Meribah, because of the chiding of the children of Israel, and because they tempted the Lord, saying, is the Lord among us or not? Is the Lord with us, Moses, or not? Now, he done brought you through the Red Sea. Well, I probably would have said, go over there and sit down, acting silly. Then came Amalek and fought with Israel in Rephidim. Okay, so Amalek, remember, he's a part of those surrounding nations that were enemies to us. And Moses said unto Joshua, choose out men and go out to fight with Amalek. So in those days, if you messed with us, we was messing with you. You coming for us, we coming for you. All right. Tomorrow I will stand on the top of the hill with the rod of God in my hand. So Joshua did as Moses had said unto him and fought with Amalek. And Moses, Aaron, and Hur went up to the top of the hill. And it came to pass when Moses held up his hand that Israel prevailed. So when Moses' hands went up, Israel prevailed. And when he let his hand down, Amalek prevailed. But Moses' hands were heavy. His hands were tired, because he's holding up his hands. They took a stone and put it under his arm, and he sat thereon. They put a stone under Moses so that he could sit down. And Aaron and Hur stayed up his hands. So they held Aaron and Hur, they stayed up, they held Moses' hands up. The one on the one side and the one on the other side, and his hands were steady until the going down of the sun. And Joshua discomfited Amalek and his people with the edge of the sword, right? So Joshua was kicking butt, baby. He wasn't sitting there talking about, oh, well, no, all right? And the Lord said unto Moses, write this for a memorial in a book and rehearse it in the ears of Joshua. For I will utterly put out the remembrance of Amalek from under heaven. So the Lord is saying, Amalek messed with my people, I'm going to get him. So you notice that the Lord told Moses to rehearse it in Joshua's ear. And who took over leadership once Moses had died? Joshua. So the Lord saw leadership in Joshua early on. So what does God see in you? There's a lot of things you can get out of these. I tell you, I get a lot out of when I go back and read the Old Testament. There's so much in it that you could get, but I see a lot of disobedience. All right. And Moses built an altar and called the name of it, they call it Jehovah Nissi. The Lord will fight your battles, right? For he said, because the Lord hath sworn that the Lord will have war with Amalek from generation to generation. So those who have done us wrong, those who have enslaved us, the Lord is against them. And they are going to have problems from generation to generation. All right. So don't think that because we came over here in the transatlantic slave trade, that God is not going to avenge us of that. Oh, yes, he is. That's why a lot of white pastors are waking up and telling their people, you better stop treating black people bad. I saw it this week. A white pastor said, you better stop that mess, because he said, God is going to get you because those are his people. They're starting to admit and know that we are the children of Israel, y'all. We're from Africa. We're from the continent of Africa. Israelites always were black people. So even your people, let me get these books that I was telling y'all to get. Please get this book. From Babylon to Timbuktu. All right. And read about these Jewish people. They were black people, y'all. Even white people were lied to about history. All right. So, read that. And also another one, the two Babylons. All right. America is like a present day Babylon. All right. So don't be tricked by the craziness and the lies that they told in history. When I was growing up, when they taught back black history, who they talked about, Harriet Tubman and Frederick Douglass, which are two important people, but they're not the only people that were in black history. They didn't tell us the truth because they would have been telling on themselves. All right, so now we're going to go to Exodus, the 18th chapter. I'm going to try to get through this, y'all, because I think I don't have too much time left. But if I don't finish up today, don't worry. Next week when I come back, this is an ongoing one. I'm going to be on this for a minute. All right. So, but I want you all to learn so that you understand from the beginning. You can go and get your book and read the word of God and understand, have perfect understanding, and not just what people are telling you or, that type of thing. You need to go in and know the history, y'all. Get to know the history. And the Jews in Africa, that's another one. I have a lot of little Kindle books and stuff. Y'all know I be studying. I'm a historian. I study because I knew that there was stuff missing from our history. So I'm glad for my family who knew different things, who had people charts and all that. So I could trace my history, understand who my people were, where they came from, what they went through. Now I get it, why we're so hated, because we are the children of Israel. They didn't want us to know that, but now the Dead Sea Scrolls and all of that stuff came up and whatnot. So now they're seeing who we are, but we got to get ourselves together. We have to. It's time for us to come back together, tribal. All right. Jethro visits, he's converted, and he's well advises Moses. Now, Exodus 18. When Jethro, the priest of Midian, Moses' father-in-law, heard of all that God had done for Moses, because remember, prior to this, Moses was living in Midian because he fled from Egypt because he had killed one of the Egyptian soldiers that was bothering the children of Israel. But Moses was gone in Midian for about 40 years. He had a family. Jethro was his father-in-law. But God called Moses out of that and said, come on back home. I need you to lead my people to victory. I need you to bring the children of Israel out. So Jethro was a Midian priest. He was Moses' father-in-law. He heard what God had done for Moses and for Israel, his people, and that the Lord had brought Israel out of Egypt. So Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, brought Moses' wife, because now Moses' wife was still in Midian with her father while Moses was leading the Israelites out. So he took Zipporah, who was Moses' wife, after he had sent her back, right? And her two sons, of which the name of the one was Gershom, for I have been an alien in a strange land. That's what that child's name means. I've been an alien in a strange land. And the name of the other was Eleazar, for the God of my father said he was mine help. God was mine help and delivered me from the sword of Pharaoh. So now Moses' wife Zipporah and the two sons Gershom and Eleazar, Moses has sent them back to Midian so that he could get the children of Israel situated. All right. And Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, came with his sons and his wife unto Moses in the wilderness, where he encamped at the Mount of God. And he said to Moses, I'm come to you and your wife and your two sons. And Moses went out to meet his father-in-law, and they greeted each other and all of that. And they asked each other of their welfare, and they came into the tent. Remember, they were living in tents at that time, which the way things are going, y'all, who knows, right? And Moses told his father-in-law all that the Lord had done, all that God had done to Pharaoh and the Egyptians for Israel's sakes, in the travail that had come upon them by the way. Jethro rejoiced with him. His father-in-law was happy for him for all the goodness that he received of the Lord. And Jethro had blessed the Lord. He said, blessed be the Lord who hath delivered you out of the hand of the Egyptians and out of the hand of Pharaoh. Now remember, Jethro was not an Israelite, but when he saw what God did, he became converted. All right. And he said, blessed be the Lord who hath delivered the people from under the hand of the Egyptians. Now I know, this is what Jethro is saying. Now I know that the Lord is greater than all gods. For in the thing wherein they dealt proudly, he was above them. They prided themselves in having us in captivity and slavery. Just like over here in America, the whites that had us in slavery, they pride themselves over that. The things that they say today, they pride themselves over, the prejudice things that they do to us. But yet God prevailed. So Jethro saw this. So he took a burnt offering and sacrifices for the Lord our God. And Aaron, Moses' brother, came, and all the elders of Israel to eat bread with Moses' father-in-law before God. Because of what God did for Moses and Aaron, for the children of Israel, Jethro was converted. So see, as you go on and you serve the Lord will cause people to turn to him, because they're going to see the greatness that God brings you to. They're not just going to see your suffering and your struggling, but they're going to see you come out victorious. And they're going to say, you know what? That got to be God. That got to be God. He brought them through the Red Sea. Who could do that? Right? So Now it came to pass that Moses sat to judge the people, and the people stood by Moses from the morning unto the evening. So now they're in the wilderness and they have problems and stuff. So Moses is their judge. And when Moses' father-in-law saw all the people, what they did, um, he said, "What is this thing that thou doest to the people? Why do you sit by yourself and all the people from morning to the evening?" Because so Moses wasn't using wisdom. He was counseling the people from morning till evening by himself. You know that wears you out, right? And so Moses said, well, because the people come to me to inquire about God. When they have a matter, they come to me. I judge between one and the other, and I do make them know the statutes of God and his laws. And Moses' father-in-law said to him, the thing that you do is not good. You're going to surely wear yourself away. So he said, hearken to my voice, and I'm going to give you counseling. All right, this is what you do. Be thou for the people to Godward, that thou mayest bring the causes unto God. Thou shalt teach them ordinances and laws, and shalt show them the way wherein they must walk, and the work that they must do. Moreover, you will provide out of the people able men. So teach different men, different, like us as today, you have a pastor and you have assistant pastors under him. Provide out of the people able men, such as fear God, men of truth, hating covetousness, and place them such over them, which they need to do in this government. Because every time you turn around, one of them is getting knocked out because they don't have this men that fear God, truthful, hating covetousness. You see a lot of these elected officials are far from it. All right. So Moses' father-in-law said for him to choose these type of people to be rulers of thousands and hundreds, fifties and tens. Let them judge the people at all seasons. And any matter that's like too great, then let them bring it to you. And if you do this thing, then you will be able to endure. And all the people shall go to their place in peace too. So when you're a leader, you have to learn to delegate. You have to. You can't. If you do everything yourself, you're going to wear out. And then what happens? That's it. That's the end of that ministry, right? So Moses hearkened to the voice of his father-in-law and did all that he said. Moses chose able men out of Israel and made them heads over the people, rulers of thousands, hundreds, fifties, and rulers of tens. Each one teach one, right? And they judged the people at all seasons. The hard causes they brought to Moses, but every small matter they judged for themselves. I think I might be running out of time. So Moses left his father, and he let his father-in-law depart, and Jethro went his way into his own land. So I'm gonna try to get through chapter 19 quickly. I'm on chapter 19. Remembering what was done to the Egyptians, a choice to make approaching unto the Lord. In the 3rd month, when the children of Israel were gone forth out of the land of Egypt, the same day came they into the wilderness of Sinai. For they were departed from Rephidim and were gone to the desert of Sinai and had pitched in the wilderness, and there Israel camped before the mount. Moses went unto God, and the Lord called unto him out of the mountain, saying, say to the house of Jacob and tell the children of Israel. Israel is the house of Jacob. You have seen what I did to the Egyptians, how I bare you on eagle's wings and brought you unto myself. Now, if you will obey my voice and keep my covenant, then you will be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people. For all the earth is mine. God is letting Moses know all is mine. And you shall be unto me a kingdom of priests. That's what we were brought to be, y'all. Israelites, we are a kingdom of priests. We were chosen by the God Almighty. That's why the earth is out of course, is because we're supposed to be in place. But we don't have enough of us in place that are really teaching the word of God and waking up the people. So we're coming to an ending now. This is Esau's time. So his time is ending. All right. And Jacob is the beginning of the next. We're Jacob. We're Israel. Right. Nothing to brag about, but pray about. We need to do our part. You shall be unto me a kingdom of priests, a holy nation. These are the words which thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel. Moses came and called the elders of the people and laid before their faces all these words which the Lord commanded him. The people answered and said, all that the Lord is speaking, we will do. Right? I got a little bit of time left. So the Lord said unto Moses, go to the people, sanctify them today and tomorrow. Let them wash their clothes and be ready against the third day. For the third day, the Lord will come down in the sight of all the people upon Mount Sinai, right? And thou shalt set bounds unto the people round about, saying, take heed to yourselves that you go not up into the mount or touch the border of it. So there was an area that they had to block off because God was going to talk to Moses, and the next group of people where that would be, there would be Joshua, and then the elders and the people would be, on the ground, further down on the ground. So take heed to yourselves, don't go up to the mount or touch the border. Whoever touched the mount shall surely be put to death. There shall not a hand touch it, but let's see. Okay, there shall not a hand touch it. Okay, that's what the Lord was telling them. All right, so if you touch that mount, you will be put to death. All right, so I'm running out of time, but I'll touch a little more on the last part next week when I come back. All right, so I, kind of ran out of time today. But anyway, I want you all to remember you could see the show every Sunday from 2:30 to 3:30. If you go to bronxnet.org, you could look at Watch Live. I'm on channel 68 and 2134. I believe that's Optimum is 68. Fios is 2134. Also, go to my YouTube page, The Crystal Jones TV Show. Go to Facebook, The Crystal Jones TV Show. And you could see all of the episodes there. All right. If you want to be a guest on the show, whatever, the Crystal Jones Show at gmail.com. Get in touch with me. And we'll see if you're, a good fit for the show. But anyway, God bless you. God keep you is my prayer. Thank you all for tuning in to the Crystal Jones Show. You stay balanced.
Do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Did you see that? Whoa, we scored? Yeah, we scored. We're going to the playoffs.
This is the story of a boy who didn't talk for a long time. The boy liked things to always be the same. Any changes would scare and upset him. The unknown was an unfriendly place. The boy was very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where they couldn't get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. He wasn't trying to be mean, it just made him feel uncomfortable. Sometimes he would flap his arms again and again.
One day, I found out I had something called autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I found my voice and learned all the ways I could live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
Intimidation, control and manipulation. Jezebel and all them spirits fall back, not trying to hear it. Go with Jesus, walk in peace. On your pew can sit that beast that we're fighting in the world. I'm that JC Supergirl, Jesus Christ, belt of truth, arm of God, I'm slaying you. Power of the word, two-edged sword. MC Heaven rocks for her Lord. Thought they crept in unaware, didn't see the gatekeeper standing right there, not getting down with your tactics, undoctrinal.